Welcome to the second part of this review lecture. All animals are multicellular and heterotrophic, and their cells lack cell walls. Most animals can move from one place to another, can reproduce sexually, and possess unique tissues. Animals are distinguished on the basis of symmetry, tissues, type of body cavity, sequence of embryonic development, and segmentation. Bilateral animals are those that have bodies bilaterally symmetrical. Within bilaterians, protostomes develop the mouth parallel to the anus. Deuterostomes develop the mouth after the anus has formed. Segmentation is conducive to efficient locomotion. A pseudocoelom is a space that develops between the mesoderm and endoderm. A coelom develops entirely within mesoderm. Scientists have defined phyla based on tissues, symmetry, characteristics such as presence or absence of a coelom or pseudocoelom, protostomes versus deuterostome development, growth pattern and larval stages, and molecular data. Among protostomes, spiralian organisms have a growth pattern in which their body size simply increases. Ecdysozoans must mold in order to grow larger. The condition of the coelom and the occurrence of segmentation have evolved convergently among animals, whereas other traits, such as molting, have arisen only once. Among the deuterostome phyla are echinoderms and chordates. Sponges possess multicellularity but have neither tissue-level development nor body symmetry. Cells that compose a sponge include a layer of collar cells, a layer of epithelial cells, and amoeboid cells in the mesohome between the two layers. Collar cells have flagella that beat to circulate water through the sponge body, allowing food particles to be trapped. Members of phylum Cnidaria have nematocysts, capsules used in defense and prey capture, and are radially symmetrical. Protostomes are those animals in which the mouth forms from the blastopore during development. Protostomes are divided into spiralians, characterized by spiral cleavage, and ecdysozoans, which mold. Flatworms are compact, bilaterally symmetrical animals. Most have a blind digestive cavity with only one opening. They also have an excretory system consisting of flame cells within tubules that run throughout the body. Many are free-living, but some cause human diseases. The scolex of a tapeworm is not a head, but simply an anchoring device to hold the animal in the intestine where it acts as a parasite. Mollusks have a reduced coelom. Most have efficient excretory systems, gills for respiration, and a rasping structure, the radula, for gathering food. The mantle of mollusks not only secretes their protective shell, but also forms structures essential to body functions. Gastropods, bivalves, and cephalopods are the three best-known groups. The two phyla of Lophophorates probably share a common ancestor, and they show a mixture of protostome and deuterostome characteristics. The Lophophore is a characteristic feeding and gas exchange structure with ciliated tentacles. Bryozoans are exclusively colonial, whereas brachiopods and phoronids are solitary. Brachiopods have two shells with dorsal and ventral valves, not lateral. Nematodes are bilaterally symmetrical, unsegmented worms that have longitudinal muscle but not muscle in a circle around the body. Aside from many free-living species, Some nematodes are parasites of animals and plants. In some parasitic species, females burrow through the intestinal walls of some mammals and release their eggs, which become lodged in the muscles. Eating undercooked meat of such animals can transmit the worms to humans. Euarthropods have a skeleton formed from plates and jointed appendages. The Chelicerata with mouth parts that function as fans or pincers, and the Mandibulata, which is divided up into the Crustacea and the Tracheata, are the highest-ranking sister groups within the Euarthropoda. Insecta, the insects, have 3 pairs of locomotory appendages, and Myriapoda, with 1 or 2 pairs of appendages on every body segment, are sister groups of the Tracheata. Echinoderms are marine deuterostomes with endoskeletons. They are characterized by pentaradial symmetry in the adult, in which a line drawn in 5 directions produces mirror images. The water vascular system and tube feet that act as suction cups aid in movement and feeding. The 5 living classes of echinoderms are sea stars, sea lilies, sea urchins, sea cucumbers, and brittle stars. Chordates are characterized by a hollow dorsal nerve cord, a notochord, pharyngeal pouches, and a post-anal tail at some point in their development. The flexible notochord anchors internal muscles and allows rapid, versatile movement. Chordates are deuterostomes. Their nearest relatives are the echinoderms. Vertebrates are characterized by a vertebral column and a distinct head. Other distinguishing features are the development of a neural crest, a closed circulatory system, specialized organs, and a bony or cartilaginous endoskeleton that has the strength to support larger body size and powerful movements. Fishes are generally characterized by the possession of a vertebral column, jaws, paired appendages, a lateral line system, internal gills, and single-loop circulation. Cartilaginous fishes have lightweight skeletons and were among the first vertebrates to develop teeth. The very successful bony fishes have unique characteristics such as swim bladders and gill covers, as well as ossified skeletons. One type of bony fish, the lobe-finned fish, gave rise to the ancestors of amphibians. Amphibians, which includes frogs and toads, salamanders, and caecilians, are generally characterized by legs, lungs, cutaneous respiration, and a more complex and a partially divided heart. All of these developed as adaptations to life on land. Most species rely on a water habitat for reproduction. Although some early forms reach the size of a pony, modern amphibians are generally quite small. Reptiles have a hard, scaly skin that minimizes water loss, thoracic breathing, and an enclosed, amniotic egg that does not need to be laid in water. Synapsids had a single hole in the skull behind the eyes and included ancestors of mammals. The apsids had 2 holes and are ancestors of modern reptiles and birds. The 4 living orders of reptiles include the turtles and tortoises, tuataras, lizards and snakes, and crocodiles. Birds have the greatest diversity of species of all terrestrial vertebrates. Archaeopteryx exhibited many traits shared with non-avian and avian theropod dinosaurs. A key feature of birds is a lightweight hollow skeleton. Additional features include auxiliary XX and a 4-chambered heart. Mammals are the only animals with hair and mammary glands. Other mammalian specializations include endothermy, the placenta, a tooth design suited to diet, and specialized sensory systems. Today, 3 subgroups of mammals are recognized: monotremes, which lay eggs; marsupials, which feed embryonic young in a marsupial pouch; and placental mammals, in which the placenta nourishes the embryo throughout its development. 33 binary and multi-state characters were derived from observations or drawn from previous cladistic analysis. Binary characters avoid problems of hierarchical linkage, whereas multi-state ones minimize character interdependency. All multi-state characters were treated as non-additive. Unfortunately, this study contains missing entries in cases where data could not be found, as is often a problem in cladistic analyses. Using tree analysis using new technology, an analysis of the data matrix was conducted to find the most parsimonious tree, incorporating all 33 4-limbed characters. 16 fundamental cladograms resulted with 7 trees retained. Each cladogram has a length of 91 steps, a consistency index of 0.527, and a retention index of 0.511. Consistency index in cladistic analysis, a measure of homoplasy in a phylogenetic tree, calculated as the number of steps in the cladogram divided by the smallest possible number of steps. The index therefore runs from 0 to 1. The retention index is also a measure of the amount of homoplasy, but also measures how well synapomorphies explain the tree. The left cladogram shows Struthio and Gallus to be less derived than Confucius Ornis, Archaeopteryx, Velociraptor, and Allosaurus. Therefore, 4-limbed characters are insufficient in themselves to provide a reliable cladistic analysis of the relationships between taxa. Gallus and Struthio share some 4-limbed characters with Tawa and Coelosaurus. Hence, their placement in a monophyletic clade. However, these characters appear to be plesiomorphic, as modern birds are shown to be polyphyletic with respect to them. The right cladogram, which integrates my cladistic analysis in the whole skeletal system, assesses the impact of trait correlations on phylogenetic analyses. This topology more closely resembles published works. Modern birds, Struthio and Gallus, form a monophyletic clade. Confucius Ornis is paraphyletic with respect to Archaeopteryx. Recent morphological, molecular, and combined primary character analyses yield a well-resolved and stable higher-level phylogeny of Carnivora and parts of Carnivora Morpha. Morphological analyses indicate that Creodonta are the nearest relatives of Carnivora Morpha, while molecular results suggest that Pholidota are the nearest living relatives of Carnivora. There is strong support for monophyletic Carnivora Morpha, Carnivora, Carniformia, Filiformia, Arctoides, Pinnipedia, Mastoidoides, Phyloides, Herpestoides, and all traditional modern families. Early Cenozoic Coniferomorphines form basal outgroups to crown conifera. Based on those results, Fling et al. Named and provided a phylogenetic definition and diagnosis for the clade including all Coniferomorphines except Viperinvidae. Fossils placed within a robust phylogeny are crucial to interpretations of many evolutionary transformations. This is where our module ends. We trust that you have gained some valuable knowledge from it. If you do not fully understand, do not hesitate to contact us, in which case we will respond quickly. Finally, it is of paramount importance that we all respect all living things, that we maintain a balance between humanity and nature, and that we protect the biosphere. We must maintain a good environment despite industrialization. Once again, thanks for watching. All the best to you.